You and I have lived pretty exciting lives.
Big time.
Yeah. And so I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What is the most action film-esque moment of your exciting life?
Wow. The most.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say our time in prison did remind me a little bit of the Jean-Claude Van Damme film Sudden Death.
Yeah.
Not Sudden Death. Death Warrant.
Death Warrant. Sudden Death was the better
Sudden
one.
Death. I never played in the NHL.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I don't know. I spent some time in China, and I feel like I had some Indiana Jones-esque adventures there. I was in a rickety bus, one time riding up into the mountains, and man, the wheels were just on the razor's edge of this cliff, and it was just this hairpin turn dirt trail that was just snaking up this mountain, and all I could see down the side of me was clouds. That was that was pretty. And then I climbed the Great Wall of China, and then I thought I was going to die. I was incredibly unsafe.
Yeah,
that comes to mind. What about you?
Well, there was this one time we went to Japan and you busted your knee on the pavement while we were riding bikes in Kyoto. That was pretty action-packed.
So that's pretty most.
Oh, no, I was trying to tell you like one of your stories.
You were going to tell one of mine.
Yeah, no, okay. So my most action film-esque moments, I think I have two of them, actually. They were both from my childhood, and they both involved bikes, where one of them was my friend, also named Joe, by the way, one of my first friends, not you. Saw a movie where somebody rides their bike off a cliff or something, and you know, like
Mac and me.
Mac and me.
Wheelchair.
And they make the leap, and it's just this really cool thing where they, you know, just jump off of a high space.
Yeah.
And
they were doing that, man. Kids were doing that in the movies in the 90s.
My friend didn't build up any momentum. He didn't understand that you needed to speed up into that kind of leap.
Yeah.
He went to the back of a docking ramp at a warehouse near our house, and he went to the top of it, climbed up this ramp, went to the edge of the docking ramp, and thought he was going to jump over it. And to do so, he slowly crept towards the edge with his bike.
Right, want to be real careful.
And then just fell face first into the pavement.
Ooh.
And he ran home screaming.
Ouch.
I brought his bike home to him. He was fine. And I remember asking him, why did you do that? What were you thinking? And he was like, I saw a movie where somebody rode a bike off of a cliff and they did it. And I don't know, for whatever reason, it didn't work out the way I thought it did.
Movies are incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, the second story has to do with me, and I saw a movie. I'm pretty sure it was Terminator 2. Maybe it wasn't. But I remember seeing the main character riding a motorcycle, and they turn the handlebars suddenly and go into a skid, and they bring the bike to a cool stop or whatever. And I thought that I could do that if I were riding my bike. And so I rode my bike at full speed towards the end of our street, and as I approached the end of it, I turned the handlebars immediately sideways, and the bike came to a stop, and I flipped over the handlebars.
Exactly, yeah.
And slammed into the pavement.
Did you run home screaming?
I did run home screaming. Actually, I remember I got a cut on my foot, which is still there, where I seem to remember like one of the spokes or one of the gears stabbing into it or something. I don't know, when you have moments like this in childhood, you kind of over-exaggerate the features. I remember one time when there was this huge winter storm and I went outside, and I seem to remember being picked up by the wind, holding on to the rails of the stairs leading up to my house, and being picked up by the wind and blown perpendicular. And obviously that didn't happen, but I have an incredibly vivid memory of it for some reason.
The Wizard of Oz isn't an action movie, Jimmy.
No, I guess that's true.
Back again, back once more, back to Glebensky Holdings presents The Long Road Home Alone.
Oh, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, I guess.
Maybe we could have just left it the way it was and it would have been fine.
That might have been the case.
What did you buy the Sheboygan Chamber of Commerce for in the first place, you
Now we're here in our beautiful studios in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and I'm Joey Z, and you're Jimmy Dantes.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
I'm so happy to be here, too.
What the are we talking about today?
Well, I don't know. It's sort of been a frantic morning around here because, well, there were some layoffs.
Oh, yeah. Who saw that coming?
Yeah.
We got rid of our HR director, got rid of our IT guy, and our in-house psychotherapist. All three let go in the wind now. Godspeed. Hope you're doing well. But you know what?
She's going to land on her feet.
Yeah. Shareholders are going to land on their feet, too.
Well, you know, here we are. We're still here.
All right.
We're still here. We still got jobs. We still got
right.
job security. You know, if you want job security, I'm just going to say a little public service announcement. If you want job security, get into radio. Mm-hmm. You know, we're going nowhere. We're going nowhere fast.
And we have total creative autonomy.
That's right. That's right. That's a handshake agreement of ours.
Yeah. All right. What is it today? What are we doing here?
You know, Home Alone, this movie Home Alone that we sometimes talk about. Now you've seen it, right?
I've seen it a few times.
Yeah. 1990, John Hughes.
Chris Columbus.
Yeah.
Starring Macaulay Culkin.
The whole shebang.
Yeah.
There's so much going on at the beginning of this movie, and there's so many characters. We've talked about so many of them. There's so many things that are being said. We've talked about the chaos of the household, but honestly, what we've never really dug into is what is actually going on here. Because if you really pay close attention, there is a lot going on in the background.
And when you finish the opening credits of Home Alone, you start hearing a bunch of buzz, a bunch of voices within this house. Yeah.
You start hearing like the themes. And
Why doesn't somebody answer the phone? Where's my suitcase? Jeff, get out of there.
Yeah.
All of these lines, I don't get the sense that they were scripted by John Hughes. These feel like things that were kind of added by the sound editor, maybe after the fact or something.
I mean, it is characters' voices. So
some of them aren't, though. Buzz says something towards the end where he says, "This is so crazy. I can't get anything done around here. It makes me sick." And then before that, he says, "I'm going to see somebody. I'm starving. I can't even get a decent meal." And when you hear this person deliver the voice, it's clearly not Devin Rattray.
Really?
But the line is coming from his mouth.
Whoa.
And so this is one of those things where I think it wasn't scripted. They didn't have Devin Rattray. I think it's similar to the answering machine at the Murphy's house where it's the editor's voice. It's Raja Gosnell who plays the Murphy, where I think after the fact, the actors are all gone. Yeah. Let's just add some stuff here to make it seem like, you know, there's a lot of action around here.
A lot of action around here.
Yes.
That's the whole McCallister household.
It's chaos.
It's total chaos.
Yeah.
Action. A lot of action around here.
Oh, yeah. You know, an action movie that kind of reminds me of Home Alone a little? First Blood, starring Sylvester Stallone. Have you heard of this guy, Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah, Sly.
Yeah.
Sly and the family Stallone.
He plays John Rambo in First Blood.
Yeah,
and it's this movie where he's not against robbers, but instead he's against cops.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
And he's like...
It is kind of Home Alone-y.
Yeah, and he's like setting traps and things and all of this. What do you think about that guy, Sylvester Stallone? You like any of his movies?
Do I like any of his movies? Yeah, I mean, I definitely do.
What are some of your favorites?
Well, man, I really like Cliffhanger.
Okay.
I will say that. Yeah. But not really for Sylvester Stallone, though.
Yeah.
You know, let's see.
Well, you got John Lithgow in that, who's like a pretty over-the-top villain.
Yeah.
Leon is also in it. I think he's also pretty over-the-top.
Yeah.
Cliffhanger. I haven't seen that one in years. I've actually seen Ace Ventura When Nature Calls more often than that, and there's a reference to Cliffhanger. I saw the reference of him dropping the raccoon in Ace Ventura before I saw Cliffhanger.
Oh, man. That
ruined the movie for me.
You ever seen Copland?
No.
I like Copland. I like it. And Sylvester Stallone plays a dummy.
Okay.
You know, he's a pushover.
Yeah.
He's the stooge that the corrupt cops have installed as the sheriff.
Wait a second. Is this
of their corrupt town in New Jersey?
Is De Niro in this? Does it take place in Jersey?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so he's like the cop across the river from New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
And these cops are doing all their mob and their crime stuff in Jersey, right? But they have their own town. They have like their own enclave.
Yeah.
And Sylvester Stallone is like their contemporary memory from growing up where they're like, this guy's just dumb. He's a pushover. We can control him.
Yeah.
And so they install him as like the sheriff or the chief of police or whatever of their crime-ridden town so that they can just get away with everything they're doing.
Yeah.
I like Stallone in that.
Well, that's sort of towards the, I don't know, towards the end of the big Stallone era. It feels like you get into the 90s and Stallone's kind of fallen off. He's got Demolition Man is probably his most popular film from the 90s.
Do you think so?
Maybe, I think. Maybe Cliffhanger is. I've got a soft spot for Judge Dredd. It's campy as hell. It's not a great film, but I remember watching it as a kid, and it was one of these like rated R films that I was allowed to watch. Yeah. So a lot of it may be nostalgia appeal, but it's people hate it now.
Yeah.
You obviously hate it.
Obviously, reading it off my face. I haven't seen Judge Dredd in a million years. I didn't like it when I saw it. Yeah. I wasn't a big fan of it. But I also don't love Demolition Man.
Yeah.
You know, I liked it when I was a kid, but I think it is that we've discussed it before, but it's like those 90s rated R movies that were basically made for kids.
Yeah.
They're super silly.
Well, I also don't think that Stallone's the selling point for Demolition Man. He's kind of the straight man for the most part. It's Wesley Snipes. That's the big draw. He's this cartoonish villain.
Right.
And the world that they live in, I think, is also like the big draw to them. I also don't care for Demolition Man. When it comes to Stallone, the stuff I love is his old stuff. I really love the original Rocky, and I really love First Blood. Yeah. The original Rocky in particular, like, I don't know, he's good playing this guy down on his luck. You're rooting for him. Yeah. The love story is non-traditional. It's these two shy people just making inches towards each other.
Yeah, I think between Rocky and First Blood, I think Rocky is a better movie.
Yes.
First Blood is a solid action film. I actually like all the Rockies, though. I think 4 is the weakest for me, but even 4 I don't hate.
4 is like Rocky, 4 montages, basically.
Yeah.
Like it's montage the movie.
Yeah, it's the one I want to watch the least.
The Carl Weathers stuff is good in Rocky 4. Like I feel like I get something from that. It's intense.
I can basically stop watching it after he, spoiler alert, earmuffs. He dies. He dies in the ring. Yeah. He comes out to living in James Brown, living in America. He thinks it's just going to be like this, you know, an exhibition fight, and he dies.
It's such an intense scene.
It's
Ivan
crazy.
Drago, Dolph Lundgren just
him.
knocks him.
Blam!
He falls on the ground. You see him like shaking and trembling. I don't know. It's really disturbing, but I do like that moment.
Down with the Soviets.
Yeah.
We took him down.
Yeah.
That was a big part of it.
Took him down in Rambo 3 too.
Yeah, thanks to Stallone.
We showed them good in Afghanistan.
That's right. That's
Rambo 3, dedicated to the Mujahideen. Forget it.
Pete's brother and his family are here. Oh, it's crazy.
You know, Trish is going to Montreal.
Montreal?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's right. Her family's there.
And then we're off.
When do you leave? Oh, you're not ready, are you?
Mom, Uncle Frank won't let me watch the movie, but the big kids can. Why can't I?
Kevin, I'm on the phone.
So another conversation in Home Alone, these opening scenes that kind of introduce how chaotic the scene is. It's Macaulay Culkin's intro. It's Kevin's intro. He walks in the room and says, Mom, Frank won't let me watch the movie, but the big kids can. While he's coming into the scene, Kate is on the phone with a friend.
Kevin, I'm on the phone.
If you listen carefully, you can hear everything on the other end of that conversation. It starts with Kate's friend saying, you know, Trish is going to Montreal. Montreal? Uh-huh. Oh, that's right. Her family's from there. When do you leave? You're not ready, are you? And this is also where her friend says, what did you do with the dog?
Right.
And this is where we learn that the McCallisters have a dog, if you were listening. And she says, no,
we send him to the kennel.
We're not taking the dog with us. We're sending the dog to the kennel.
Yeah.
But this is why the McCallisters have a doggy door in the back. And that's where Marv sticks his head at. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is just another good example of like why this is actually important
Yeah.
for the world building. It can wash right over you. You know, you don't have to catch it, but it's acknowledging that these things are here in the house because the family lives
And it
here.
also makes it so that you can watch the film a million times and still pick up
Still
something
find
new.
something
If you
new.
listen
Yeah.
closely to what's being said on the other, there are some clues being said about these families.
Yeah. Do you feel like Arnold Schwarzenegger is better than Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If I had to pick a side, so yeah, speaking of phone calls, Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger had a feud.
That's right.
They called each other one day and said,
That's
hey,
right.
I'm going to fight you and I'm going to make better movies than you.
Yeah.
And it does feel like in the 80s and 90s, there was this muscly feud. And it feels like it was a friendly feud. They didn't actually dislike each other. They probably actually hung out. They did hang out because it was at a party that they were both at in Florida that Steven Seagal said he could kick Jean-Claude Van Damme's ass. And Jean-Claude Van Damme called Seagal on that, and Seagal promptly left the party.
That's right. Yeah.
That was hosted by Stallone, but I think Arnold was there.
Yeah.
And I don't know. This gets me to thinking about Arnold versus Stallone. If I had to pick a side in that fight, it's Arnold for me. I love Arnold's career. While I do love Rocky, I love First Blood. Some of the films Arnold has been in are some of my favorite films of all time. Predator.
Sure.
The Predator is one of my favorite action movies of all time. I saw this when I was 9-10 years old or something like that. I saw it on broadcast television.
Wow,
but
yeah.
the other film I love is Terminator 2. I think Terminator 2 is maybe the best action film that's ever been made. I absolutely love Terminator 2.
I love the original Terminator.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah. That one's more, I don't know, that one feels more horror-esque. I think, and I think that's largely because you get Arnold back in Terminator 2, and he is somebody who can actually stand up to a Terminator. He is a Terminator himself, whereas the first film, you're just running.
Yeah.
You're just trying to get away from this thing.
He's a
because
monster.
It's going to kill you if it gets close to you.
Right. Yeah.
And so, I love that first Terminator as well. I think originally he wasn't even cast as the Terminator in The Terminator. He was supposed to be Reese.
That's right.
And then it came across like, you might actually be better as the Terminator.
Yeah.
And he is. He's terrifying.
Yeah. He's really scary.
Yeah.
Commando. Commando's another great one with Arnold.
That one's silly, dumb fun. It almost feels like a video game where you run to the end of the level and you've got a boss battle, you kill that boss, and now we're moving on to a different location.
Yeah, I mean, this is the great thing about Arnold, I think, is like, I actually think he's got a lot of charm and a lot of screen presence, but he's also just an action star. You know, I mean, you can put him in silly movies, and I think that's the thing with Stallone is like, he can't do an Arnold. Arnold is a bodybuilder. He's huge. He's massive.
I think Stallone also just isn't very funny. Intentionally. And Arnold can be funny. And I think there's something about his accent too. You know, people talk about Jean-Claude Van Damme's career, as his accent kind of being something that like hit Western audiences wrong or some reason like that. He feels a little like he didn't do as well as he could have if he hadn't had such a thick accent in his action films.
Yeah.
Arnold has a thick accent, but it feels disarming for some reason.
Yeah.
When he says a joke, you kind of feel more inclined to laugh at it. You enjoy, hearing him be funny.
You never don't understand what Arnold is saying.
That's true.
He's got this. His accent is so rich and robust that I think it just makes him a very unique character in whatever he's in.
It lends itself to comedy so well. The Kindergarten Cop is also one of my favorite films that Arnold's been in, and his accent plays a huge role in it. The way he delivers these lines to these kids, it's not a tumor, like that accent, I don't know, it does something to add comedy to it. It makes him feel, he already is this cop, this hard-boiled dude who is out of his element being around kids, and then on top of that, it's his second language. He's trying to talk to these kids in his second language, and he feels even more out of his element as a result.
Yeah. I always think of Arnold as funny. Because I think he brings sort of like a wink and a lightheartedness to so many of the ridiculous over-the-top action movies he's in. I think he's funny in movies like The Running Man. You
Yeah.
know, which is it's a satire, right?
Yeah.
So like, even though it's not outright funny, I think he brings a sensibility to it that's
Yeah.
not too heavy. But you know, I've never seen a lot of his outright comedies. I've never seen Twins. I've never seen Junior.
Yeah.
I've never even seen Jingle All the Way.
Oh man, you've never seen Jingle All the Way?
No.
It's not great. I don't I don't love it. The funny elements of Jingle All the Way are probably Sinbad related. And I was also into Sinbad back then. I love First Kid and
House Guest.
House Guest was
Yeah.
another one that I really loved. I did like Twins quite a bit. That one was directed by Ivan Reitman, starring Danny DeVito.
I've seen bits of it on television, but I've never sat down and watched the whole
He
thing.
actually didn't take a salary on it. Him, Ivan Reitman, and Danny DeVito all went without a salary on it and said, give us points on the back end, because studios did not believe.
Yeah.
They said, Arnold, your action movie material, that's what we want you in.
Yeah.
And he said, I want to try comedy. I want to give it a shot. And so he said, okay, studios greenlight this project. Me, the director, and the co-star or the star, Danny DeVito, won't take any kind of salary whatsoever. We'll take points on the back end. And it was huge. People loved it. Arnold made $40 million off of that movie.
Wow.
$40 million off of Twins, with this low budget comedy about like two twins that seem kind of mismatched for each other.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito and Arnold. They're twins.
Have you ever seen Junior? How's that one?
I've never seen Junior. So this is the one where Arnold becomes pregnant.
Right.
And Danny DeVito is a doctor who is impregnating him. And it's basically about Arnold going to term and delivering a baby or something.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I think the closest thing I saw to that was 9 months, and I didn't care for that one either.
Yeah. I recently watched a couple of Arnold movies. One I rewatched and one I watched for the first time. I had never seen The Sixth Day. I finally got around to watching The Sixth Day.
I remember not liking that.
Yeah, I would put that in a sort of a shorter list of don't like. I also recently watched Red Heat, which I had never seen before. That's with Jim Belushi.
I have a good time with Red Heat. I think it's pretty fun.
I'm gonna file that one under don't like.
You don't like it.
I didn't hate it, but it's just it wasn't exactly for me.
It has been a while since I've seen it. I think one of the lesser known Arnold films that I actually really do like from my childhood was Eraser. Have you seen this movie?
Oh yeah, that's Chuck Russell, man.
Oh man,
that movie's great.
Eraser is a lot of fun. So basically, Arnold plays this character who
that was
works
the movie Chuck Russell made after The Mask.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Arnold plays this guy who works for basically the witness protection program.
Yeah.
And he erases people. He makes these people who testify in court cases seem as if he makes them disappear, seem as if they were dead.
Right. Fakes their deaths. Yeah.
And then eventually he has to turn on his own organization and he has to erase himself.
Yeah.
Use the tools he's been using for years to go into hiding.
That's James Caan.
James Caan is in it. He plays his boss, and spoiler alert, not a good guy in the movie.
No, but James Caan perfect for the role.
He is such a good villain in that movie.
He's such a
I really love Eraser, and if you're going to take anything out of this episode, it's that you should check out Eraser if you haven't seen it, because it didn't do well in the box office, doesn't have much of a legacy. I don't think I rarely hear people talking about Eraser when they're talking about Arnold's career, and it's a lot of fun.
Not to be confused with Eraserhead.
Not to be confused with Eraserhead, which is a film by David Lynch about why you shouldn't have kids.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
There we go. He made it after he had his first kid, so I wonder where the inspiration came from. All right, so we spent all this time talking about, action films, action stars, or whatever, and that kind of gets me to wondering, what do you think makes a good action film? Why do you like the action films that you do?
Okay. Yeah, I love that question. So this isn't a hard and fast rule for me, but I know that a lot of my favorite action films are funny. They're films that I can really laugh out loud.
I feel that way about Die Hard. I feel that way about Lethal Weapon 2. Those are two of my favorite action films. I think the comedy does something. It's always high stakes. It's life or death constantly. And when you can inject a little bit of comedy in there, you can get a Leo Getz type character. I don't know. Bruce Willis is also pretty funny in Die Hard. You know, he's a likable character. He's sort of down to earth, salt of the earth kind of dude.
Yeah. I'm going to take it from a bit of a different angle, though, because I think what you're talking about is intentional humor and comic relief.
Oh, no.
In action films.
Yes.
And what I'm talking about is action films that both take themselves seriously, but I think also semi-consciously know that their sheer existence is ridiculous. And even when it's not for laughs, I can still laugh uproariously about an over-the-top death or circumstances.
What's your prime example of this action film with comedy that you like?
I think that, well, we were talking about Arnold. Raw Deal is a great example of that for me.
I didn't get to see that one.
It's just really good. I think it knows that it's ridiculous, but it's a movie that plays a lot less for the laughs and it plays more for heart. And the heart actually works pretty well in it, which is difficult, I think, oftentimes for an action movie. That movie is just terrific, but I think all the way through, you can just laugh at every moment. Another one I watched recently that I love, it's a favorite, is Under Siege 2.
Under Siege 2.
That movie is really, really funny.
That one. I've seen that one twice. I saw that before I saw the first Under Siege, which is one of my favorite action films for, I think, the reason that you like action films, maybe. It's a dumb movie. Under Siege is an incredibly dumb movie, but the action in it and the characters, they're all pretty charming. It's also got great villains. Over-the-top villains.
Over-the-top villains goes a long way.
This is something that draws me to the movie like Die Hard. Alan Rickman is probably my favorite action movie villain. I love Alan Rickman. I also love him in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
He's the only good one in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
You know the story behind that too. He was offered the role so many times, and eventually he kept denying it because he said this script is garbage. I hate it.
It is.
I hate this
garbage.
And the director said, you can be in the movie and you've got carte blanche on all of your lines. You can write anything you want for yourself.
Wow.
That line, I'm gonna cut your heart out with a spoon. He hired a screenwriter to write that for the movie. That wasn't originally in it. All of the lines that Alan Rickman has as the sheriff of Nottingham, that's his own doing. And that's why it's the best part of the movie.
Dude, that movie is hilarious. And the end credits is the Bryan Adams music video. He's like sitting at a piano in Nottingham Forest, and then it's intercut with all of these.
Kevin Costner falling in love with flowers, falling with Mary Elizabeth.
So stupid. It's so stupid.
It is a really dumb movie. I love Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I've seen it probably a couple dozen times.
It's very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner, the only one in that movie, by the way, not even attempting a British accent.
I think he actually did try it, and they said it was bad.
I have no doubt that it was their only option.
The other thing I want to point out too, Christian Slater, also an American actor, could successfully pull off a Cockney accent.
Successfully, I'm going to put in heavy quotation marks, but at least he's out there doing it.
At least it wasn't so embarrassing that they told him not to try at all.
Kevin Costner, classic, just completely unbelievable. And the part where the end of the movie and Marion's like, you came for me, and he's like, I'd die for you. You would? Are you sure? Do you even know what you just said?
I love him in The Big Chill.
Yes, he's great. He's great in The Big Chill. But I think the other thing about, like, it's not another one of my absolute favorite action movies of all time is Hard Target. You know, and that movie knows that it's funny. But I think, like, for me, it's not just making fun of a movie and going, oh, this is stupid. I think there's something about action, true action. Sometimes action's really serious. and really dramatic. And there are a handful of those that I enjoy too.
Yeah, one example, one of my favorite action movies of all time is Aliens. James Cameron, James Cameron's one of my, like I said before, Terminator 2 is one of my favorite action movies of all time. I love Aliens, and this is something that goes into what I like about action films is I like the characters in Aliens.
Yeah.
They spend the first part of that movie setting up who all of these characters are. Their relationships between each of them feel real and specific. There are certain people who pair off, and you get to know these people, and even if you don't like them, you feel like they're real. And when they start dying, you feel it so much more.
Yes.
And that's what I love about action movies that take themselves a little more seriously, is that when they start dying, because action movies are always about life or death situations, there are stakes at play because a character you like may or may not make it through this.
Right.
And Aliens does that. Terminator 2 does that. You feel something for the relationship between John Connor and the T-800 that Arnold is playing. And you see John Connor trying to instill humanity in him, and you take something away from that. It feels real powerful at the end of the film when John Connor has to lose the Terminator. He loses Arnold because he spent the entire film kind of getting to know him and learning about humanity by teaching it to something that doesn't understand it.
Right.
And then, the ending is just total self-sacrifice, and it really hits you in the feels. That's what I like about those kind of action films. The ones that aren't quite as funny as like Lethal Weapon 2 or Hard Target.
Another one that I absolutely adore is RoboCop. And I think RoboCop is
satire.
It's satire. And I think that RoboCop is satire, but it is so closely adjacent to just being an action movie. Mm-hmm. It's like a very self-aware action movie that's pointing at what is ludicrous about this, like the commodification of violence.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, I love that movie. I love what it has to say. And it also it's like an acknowledgement for myself, which is, I love this stuff. It's ridiculous. It's sensationalizing violence that you would abhor in the real world. Yeah. But on the screen, there's sort of this sense of, well, we live in this sort of like chaotic, inherently violent society. And there's just something cathartic about watching buildings explode and people getting blown away with machine guns. And
in most action films, too, it feels like there are very clearly delineated villains and heroes. And it's very much the heroes are fighting the villains, and you know who the bad guys are.
Right.
And I think that's what makes it more entertaining. You can detach from it a little more because that's not really how the real world works. You know, there really aren't heroes and villains that adhere to these markers nearly as so clearly as they do in action films.
Yeah. And maybe there's just something about, I love Apocalypto. Ever seen that?
I never saw that one. I did see Braveheart.
You did see
Passion
Braveheart.
of the Christ.
Okay.
Not an action film, but...
not exactly.
Apocalypto
is great, and it's not remotely funny.
No.
I mean, there are no laughs to be had there, but it is true, just like ultra violent, terrifying action.
Yeah.
And there's something to love about it. I think, if we had more time, if we still had our psychotherapist on staff, I could probably ask her.
We could dig into
why it is that I love that.
Also, one thing about Mel Gibson and Harrison Ford, this about action movies in general. Have you ever seen scenes where they get hurt, where they get injured? I feel very much, and South Park, I think, dug into this just a little bit. Those two actors, they seem like they really enjoy looking hurt on cinema. I get the same vibe from Kevin Costner, too.
Yeah,
like,
big puppy dog eyes.
Oh, look at me. I'm like a tough guy, but...
How you kids doing, huh? Good? A lot of action around here today, huh? Going on vacation? Where you going? You hear me or what? Going on a trip? Where you going, kid?
So we've got the opening scene where there's a lot of chaotic stuff happening. We've got the phone scene with Kate. One other scene where there's a bunch of dialogue going on in the background is the van scene when Heather's doing the head count.
Right.
And this is to add to the chaotic nature of it all.
Yeah.
One of the lines...
the whole family's still here.
Yeah,
It's still just constant chaos.
One of the lines that really sticks out to me is that Megan approaches Rod and says, "Why did you take my batteries?" And I get the sense that just like a moment before Lenny was like sort of ratting on Rod. She saw him take the batteries.
Yeah.
And so she approaches him. She's just super grumpy. Rod's always like being kicked around in this family, as we know. And
Rod's like, I just wanted some batteries for my
my
Walkman.
Yeah, some sort of video game. What were we talking about?
Oh, well.
Okay, I know Mr. Producer said we're supposed to stay on topic this segment
Yeah, we
and stick
kinda
with Home Alone, but
kinda
like
got balled out in the break
something
there.
that's kind of like sticking with me. So we've been talking about Arnold, we've been talking about Stallone. I don't know, what do you think of these two guys? Like, these are the action stars of their era. They're the A-listers.
Totally.
And there's this constant feud between them. Which one's better? I don't know. Where do you land on this?
Well,
or did you already say you said Arnold because you hate Stallone?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate Stallone. I didn't say that, but yeah, I mean, I would Arnold by a wide margin for me. I did notice something. We're talking about them as action stars, of course. We're talking about their movies that we like. But I took a quick look in the break at their top rated movies, and I found something interesting. Both of their very top rated movies are films where they are uncredited.
Really?
Yeah. For Sly's, his top rated movie of all time, he's an uncredited hotel guest in What's Up, Doc? The Peter Bogdanovich film.
Hey, I haven't seen that.
And, you got to see it. And Arnold's top rated film is The Long Goodbye. He's an uncredited hood.
I haven't seen that one either.
Well, you got to see that one too. Long Goodbye's terrific.
Oh, geez.
This is interesting to me because these are two huge stars who we know to always be the stars, be the protagonists of the films that they're in.
They kind of defined...
They're leading men.
They defined an entire genre of film. The muscle action stars.
Exactly.
It's Arnold and Stallone. That's them. They made those movies.
And they have made billions and billions of dollars at the box office, right? But they're both uncredited in films that have higher collective ratings than any other movie they have ever done before. So it is pointing at something. I mean, like, we're talking, these guys aren't masters of cinema so much.
No.
They're movie stars.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, what is it about either of these guys that makes them more appealing to you or to an audience?
I think what it comes down to is I think Stallone is better at drama. I think Stallone can pull off drama better. I think First Blood is, before it's an action film, it's a drama. It's about a guy who's really suffering after a really extreme experience he's gone through in his life.
Rocky is absolutely a drama.
Rocky as well. Both of these guys are just downtrodden men who just feel like they've been kicked around by the world and they're trying to make their way in it. And First Blood goes a little more violent, but you feel for both characters. And Stallone sells that vulnerability pretty well in those movies. I won't say as much for the rest of his career because
he lost that pretty quick, I think.
I think there was a heart to Stallone in his early movies. I feel like he still understood the common man back then. And at a certain point, he became an action star. And then it became
and he no longer was the common man. He's like, well, I've left that all behind.
Yeah, and he starts to feel a little like Steven Seagal, like what his reputation is. He feels like he becomes a little too enamored with his own career about looking cooler than he is.
Right. He really becomes sort of less and less likable.
Yeah, and it feels like there's very little humility in it. In the 90s, you see him starting to dabble into comedy, but he's only ever funny in ways he doesn't intend to be, the same way as Steven Seagal.
Right.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't have, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger is funny, When I watch
Yeah.
his movies, he makes me laugh. And so when I think of Arnold's strengths, you've got Stallone for drama. I'll give him that. Like I think he beats Arnold out for drama. I don't think Arnold can sell a dramatic performance in the way that Stallone has in his career. But Arnold is great at comedy. He's really funny and he's really good in action movies. He's really good at picking projects too. I mean, he's got like
he's had a magnificent career.
Yeah.
I think he's been in plenty of stinkers too.
Yeah.
But you look at Stallone's career and you really start getting into the muck where you go, oh, these are a lot of movies that either I've never seen or I have seen them, and man, that was rough.
They feel like movies that I saw ads for on pay-per-view back in the 90s. You know, films that you had never heard about from the theaters. And it's kind of like that was the trajectory of his career. He kind of just became B-movie material, B-movie slop.
And Arnold became the governor of California.
Yeah, and the other thing too that I think sets him apart is that Stallone did a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I don't know how many of the films he's attributed to having written are actually written by him.
Yeah,
he seems like somebody who's like, just slap my name on it. It'll make it go further. Yeah, but he did write Rocky, and I get the sense he was involved in writing a few of the Rambo movies as well, and he's directed a few of them.
He has. He's in a weird way. I've never thought about it, but there is sort of a parallel to me with Stallone and say a Burt Reynolds, who gets later into the career, getting older, right? Getting a little bit harder to sell and taking himself really seriously and being like, I'm an auteur, I'm an artist, I'm a creator. I want to be involved in all of these pieces of the project.
Yeah. Yeah. And Arnold didn't so much. Arnold didn't do anything behind the camera. He tried directing an episode of TV once and it didn't go well, or a TV movie or something. Yeah. And it didn't go well. And he said, that's not for me. I'm the star. I'm the action star. And I never feel like there's a sense of arrogance to Arnold. He's like one of the biggest blockbuster movie stars of all time.
Totally.
And it still feels like there was a sense of humility to him. Maybe that wasn't the case behind the scenes when you have all of these Hollywood rivalries or whatever. But to the public, he felt like a genuine guy who was just glad to be in all these movies that people liked. He seemed like he was having a blast the entire way through. He was just having fun on these movies.
Yeah, he's not cocky. He's not arrogant. He doesn't seem that way, at least. Yeah. Part of that is I think like Arnold really truly exudes confidence. And between these two guys, I feel like Stallone always seems like he's trying really hard to appear to be something. And Arnold acts like he already is. Yeah. Stallone feels a little like Richard Nixon in that way. Somebody who has made it onto the political scene. You've succeeded, but you're still just like, people don't like me for some reason. I've got to keep being better. I've got to be cooler. Yeah. Like he feels like somebody who's just constantly chasing a better idea of who he wants to be. I think it goes back to this feeling that he's always trying to seem cooler than he is. And when it comes down to it, the stuff I love in Stallone's career was when he was poor as shit. He was a nobody. He was trying to get anybody to take these projects for him, and there's heart and soul to it. Yeah. And there's a vulnerability to his characters in those movies. Once he became a movie star, I don't care about you so much more, Stallone. But Arnold was always a movie star. So to consider all of this background action that's going on here, I think we know the things that it does for Home Alone. It creates that sensory overload, right? And it makes the house feel full, and it makes it very believable. But I think more than anything, it really is building the plausibility for the entire premise. Right? It's the chaos that really believably needs to get established so that we can believe that Kevin could actually somehow get lost in the mix.
This house is crazy. There are 15 people in this house.
Yes.
You don't make that just happen from scenes. The sound is what adds to it. You have all this overlapping dialogue, and the makers of the movie don't even care if you realize what's being said.
Right. You just have to subconsciously believe it.
Yeah,
and you do.
It's a tornado of chaos in this family, and Kevin is going to get lost in that tornado.
And it also really sets a great dichotomy because when the film starts, in the first several minutes of the film, the whole setup of the premise, it's so busy. Your senses are so overloaded with all of the chaos going on. Then the after, once Kevin is home alone, it's really the difference, the stillness and the quietude is really stark.
It's dead silent. Kevin walks out of the attic, opens the door. There's nothing. He walks downstairs. It's crickets.
Yeah.
There's no sound here, whatever. There are no longer 15 people in this house. And Kevin is home alone.
And that is how we get to, frankly, the name of the film.
Yeah.
This is a film about a kid who's home alone until he's not.
Yeah. And the night before, we have Fuller and Jeff. They're both clashing swords together.
Right.
And
Take the witches!
Yield the high ground.
Yes.
Yeah. And we learn a lot about both Jeff and Fuller. Fuller's just the youngest kid in the family, but
Right.
he's still got some guff.
He
He's
doesn't
not going to
just
take
need
it.
to go easy on the Pepsi.
Yeah, he's also got a fighting spirit of his own. He can be a pirate. He can tell someone to yield the high ground. And
Yeah.
Jeff isn't up there with Buzz and Megan and Linny yet. He's still down there at the little kids' table.
Yeah,
you know?
in the scrum.
Yeah. And he says, "Take the witches," which I don't know what to take from that. Take the witches. What do you think that's
witches.
about? We have talked about this before.
We have touched on it a little
Yeah.
bit, but I think we should probably
Take the witches.
We should go down to the library and probably get the research going on it.
Did you ever see End of Days?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a great film.
No, not
But, you
great.
know, it's probly a good thing to say, well, this is the end of the program, so
Right,
End
yeah.
of Days, Arnold.
Yeah. You can go watch it on home video.
Gabriel Byrne has a sex scene or something.
Yeah, it's that's a weird movie.
Yeah. He's a pretty handsome guy, though, Gabriel Byrne.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah, he's good looking.
Yeah.
He's good looking. He had some weird haircuts in the 90s,
Yeah.
but you know, who didn't? See you next time, Jimmy.
Bye.
Broadcast live from our studio in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, The Long Road Home Alone is hosted by Jimmy Dantes and Joey Z, and produced by Pat Muldoon. Be sure to tune in next time, don't forget your reading glasses, and keep the change, you filthy animals.